has been uh, an eventful 2nd of February 2025 so far here in North Israel, or Northern Israel. And Punxsutawney Phil saw his own shadow. So look forward to another 6 weeks of winter. Personally, I'm looking forward to that. Of course, you know, it's funny, haha. But hey, if Groundhog Phil can be the prognosticator of prognosticators, then why not? Let's go with it. If it is indeed another 6 weeks of winter, I would not mind. Why is that, you might be asking? Well, it's because I love the winter time. It's a time for, frankly, getting a lot done before the waves of spring and summer heat hit. And people are generally getting a lot done and moving things along very nicely in the wintertime. It's also the beginning of, well, around here anyway, when things are growing for one season. We're very fortunate in Israel that because we are in the Fertile Crescent, as it's called, we do have pretty sizable amounts of arable land, quite rich arable land. You can grow a lot of different things in this earth. Practically anything that will grow on the earth, frankly. And the weather is good. So you can have 2 harvests a year, actually, for a lot of things that grow. It's one of the nice things about Israel. Of course, it depends what you're growing, but there are things that can be and are harvested more often here than in other places on earth where you typically have one big harvest season for the year. So, you know, again, it depends what you're growing, but yeah. So as far as I'm concerned, 6 more weeks of winter is good. If, of course, it happens, you know. In theory, it will, because we are, in fact, in the middle of winter now, right? Technically speaking, in the Northern Hemisphere. So, technically speaking, winter lasts until around March 22nd, which is about another 6 or 7 weeks from now. So, yeah, that makes sense if it happens, right? That's why whenever there's a call for an early spring, it's like, well, I'm going to be technical about it. But then, of course, that's no fun, right? People like the fun aspect of the whole thing. It's one of the many reasons people enjoy celebrating traditions like that. Groundhog Phil of Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, or Punxsutawney Phil of Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. You gotta love that little tradition. So Bitcoin, what did it do? Well, it did complete the daily time frame mean reversion to the 3012 RMLR, which I've been telling you would happen since it stopped banging the third band to the upside of that RMLR a little bit more than a week ago, right? Almost 2 weeks now, whatever it was. I did tell you that we were likely to see the mean reversion complete before we saw the asset touch that band again. And lo and behold, that is what happened. Right? And the reason that happens, as I always tell you, is because we're talking about a leading indicator telling you the future direction of the reverse mean of log returns. And that is a very powerful indicator because it shows you when the asset is in distribution and in mean reversion. reason it does that is because it's the reverse mean of log returns. And returns do two things. They distribute away from the mean of log returns, and they mean revert to the mean of log returns. And price action just follows. Does it follow every single candle precisely? No, sometimes it can look like it's not following exactly because of geometric Brownian motion and other things. But if you look on lower time frames, you'll usually see why. That it didn't happen precisely as one might expect. But it will eventually, usually within a couple candles, follow the price action. Because that's pretty much all price action will ever do, is it will follow the returns. So, thanks to that bit of knowledge, right? Since we know that positive returns beget positive returns until they don't, and negative returns beget negative returns until they don't, and assets are either distributing from the mean of returns or mean reverting to the log mean returns, it follows that when an asset is in mean reversion, after hitting a 99.7% probability band to the upside or the downside, away from said reverse mean of log returns, that after a couple candles of not hitting said mean of log return, the third band, up or down of said mean of log returns, or reverse mean of log returns, that it will in fact complete that mean reversion before hitting that band again. Now, of course, it can happen. Sometimes it does, but it's very rare that it will hit that band again before completing the mean of log returns. The reversal of the reverse mean of log returns completion, right? But it is rare, very, very rare. Less than 1% on practically any time frame. Far less than 1%. After all, it's a 99.73% band that it hits. So the probability that it would even get to that band in the first place was very low. So the probability that it will mean reverse from there is very high. If it does skip some candles and then do it, hits the band again, that's a great area for a take profit if you're going to move to that direction. And if it doesn't, and it completes the mean reversion nice and swift and clean, well, that's also a good take profit area. So if you were shorting for some reason, swing trading since a week, I wouldn't do that, but let's say you were, then the dip down to that area today would certainly be a good take profit area. And yes, it could break down further since there's an intersect of the 30 power mean, smoothing length 10, and the 30-12 RMLR on the daily time frame of Bitcoin. And if the asset closes below the power mean, which I saw it is below the power mean from the last time I looked at the screen about a half hour ago, if it closes today below that power mean, then it will have spent the whole day pretty much under it, except when it wicked up above a little. And that means that negative returns beget negative returns until they don't. So look for more downside action in the coming 0 to 4 days, unless we find some nice reversals in the next 24 hours or so in the run up to and slightly after traditional market open. In which case, yes, you could see some nice low time frame scalps this week. But I would definitely keep an eye on the lower time frames anyway, not just because I'm an intraday scalper, but because that is your best probability for being in or getting in and making profitable trades in the next 0 to 4 days. Whether they are to the downside targets, which are very juicy, or the upside targets, which are equally juicy. Anyway, it's going to distribute next. So have fun. Cheers.